In New Zealand, today is, they call it Boxing Day. I don't know the reason why, but anyway, day after Christmas. I got the text saying, my friend tell me Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. But he's interested in Wittgenstein on non-duality, so I sent back some oddball response. Actually, I've been thinking about this. Thinking is a tricky thing, but just to make sense of how I live. DT Suzuki is the one that I learned a lot from his Zen literatures, maybe 50 of them. One of the stories, I think I may have heard this from Mr. Okamura, who was his secretary basically for his last 15 years of his life. And the story goes like this, that mother talking to her kid, how's your day? He came back from the play. The kid's answer, nothing. And Daisetsu was pointing, I forgot what he said, but just reminded me when people talk about Merry Christmas or Happy New Year or Happy Birthday, I may be weird to respond by saying that Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Birthday every day. Actually, Happy Birthday is really every day that I appreciate being alive and see this world and doing nothing. I was with my friend visiting and his little party, and then later there was music going on, Maori people playing the music on the street, and that was just wonderful. Not many people around, but I enjoyed a lot. Why I'm talking about Maori people and playing the music? I don't know. Maybe just like the answer to nothing, they just want to play. And happy to play, and we listened and enjoyed and appreciated. Now I'm back from my next town to my place, and then I did some chores. No rush, just like a kid's without time constraint, except the mother may set the time constraint. In my case, I'm alone and happily alone, so no constraint, no time. And I may have mentioned in the other video that every now and then I remind myself that I spend this day just like my last day of my life. And it makes total sense to me if we want to be, or I want to be, my word is I want to be sincere and truthful in whatever I do. And there are things that we need to work in the society to get things done and work with people, share the ideas. Communicating is not that easy, but just be sincere and truthful. Everybody's got different opinions, so I may have my view, but it may not work, but that's what it is. And that's what I think about Tao Te Ching, Wu Wei, no action. No action. And what did you do today? And the answer, nothing, or happy birthday every day, may have something in common. And the point, if I were to capture, to say something in words, all of that is, we can call it being the now, being the moment, and connecting to the world as we are. Not so much constrained by the mind, because we can choose to, if we can connect to our soul or basis or root or our being of how we live. It's a moment-to-moment activity of the life functioning, manifesting in my being, and I see the birth trees and then leaves from tomato just out the window, appreciating what they can do as much as I can. I remember in my young days when I started to study Zen, because I couldn't get it, what they're talking about. It's so too complex. So it was interesting for that reason, actually. So anyway, at one point I remember thinking the Zen way of living is like living like an animal. And that was the intuition, perhaps when I was 23 years old or something, maybe earlier, maybe later, I don't know. But interestingly, that intuition is, in a way, very correct. And at the time I thought, what's the point of living like animal? Because we're human. But at the same time, as I reflect or as I try to capture the point related to all the discussions that I was going through in this talk, the point of being like animal is that animals, including amoeba, or whatever form it is, all the living beings, are just following the law of nature. As the life force manifests, whatever the combination of the atoms and the sequences and the karma, if you call that, put us onto the earth, and whatever the combination or the connection with all the ancestors we are, here we are. And nobody planned, except you can call it the plan of God. Fine. Tao Te Ching, the idea of the way is no action. It took some years to figure out what it means of no action. But one way to answer is that if you're meditating, the point of that is to get to the root of your being without any thinking. So there's no action in terms of the no thinking. No human-made action. And let the flow of the universe, life force, manifest on its own. Why is it that important? Well, why did the Daisetsu said about the kid's response to the mother was nothing was very interesting, is that that's the emptiness, just the being. No mind corrupting or interpreting, like I may be doing a little bit now, but I can connect to that sense of the beingness as it isness, beyond the mind constraint. So I have posted videos about the waku waku and the pain gauge or waku waku gauge to know how we are living, that if we have the sense of the kid's answer, nothingness, or Tao Te Ching, no action, way, no human construct, act, and the state of being as it is. And you're not dead, you're just alive without your mind functioning, so it's just an amazing miracle happening that you might connect to. And especially when you have awakening experience, that's typically what happens, because the constraint of the mind and the worries and the suffering and trying to stay out of the suffering itself create more suffering. They call it Dhamma pain, the pain caused by not following the law. But if you align to the way of the nature, the law of nature, as if animals, so it sounds degrading, but that's where we came from, then you open up a new world. Maybe you can say that's the world before the Adam and Eve eating that apple. And my point, just make my story short, is that we can use your mind, which is after eating the apple, and you are shameful or worrisome or you want to make money or do better than others, and all that dualistic view, instead of nothingness or no duality, state of being. There is that awakening of our true nature, if you may use such a word, and the state of being. So that was the point of behaving like an animal. Sounds degrading, but connected to the root. But you can come back to the human world and play the game, have fun, because you can get out of that being. You also see the different view of the world and play the game. Yet you can also look at how the origin of who we are and how we are functioning. And that's the paradoxical view. I mentioned two different universes. One is the universe of the mind, the other is the universe of the being with nature. Animal may not be a stimulating idea, but whatever the take you can, the point of this is just to get back to where I came from, or the process of my inquiry into Zen and the reflection on all of that to make sense out of it. So in nothing, there's everything. That's one of those Zen sayings. And if you are frugal, just self-sufficient, to live without any amenity or not much, and learn to appreciate how we live, there's a new awakening that we may individually or collectively find. And perhaps I can say this, that's what I want to call it, a new hero's journey to explore the path for us to live sincerely and truthfully, have fun, and be like a kid or animal, but also like human. Two different universes, but being able to connect so that we don't lose the root of our being, yet appreciate and find the destiny of how we live, having fun and share whatever we can share with others. This is the Boxing Day, one day after Christmas, just a thought. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and happy birthday.